Hello, beautiful people. I'm so glad you clicked into a Talk Time with Ty. I express my sincere gratitude to you for taking out the time to join me. Um, this is my first episode, and I'm sure you all are wondering what is a Talk Time with Ty all about. Um, and here we are going to be taking it back to the basics and also jumping into something extraordinary, hopefully. Uh, and today, specifically, I want to talk about the big W's. All of us have them. Let's talk about it. So, most of us have been in school or had some form of schooling. Um, and I don't know if any of you experienced this, but in school, when you first started taking English classes, learning how to write or read a story, the teacher said, what was the big W's of the story? The who's, the what's, the where's, the why's, those big W's. Uh, so I feel like with all of us, we have a life story that we're still living out and story that's already behind us, but um, we haven't really sat and reflected on things and got those answers to those questions. And I feel like if we start there, which is what happened with me personally, starting there with the questions, it was able to open up so much more that I needed to open up so my life can start its transformation. So the big W's again, the who, the what, the where, the why um, of our life, because it who are we? It could be a question, or what am I doing here? Or why has life been the way that it is so far? Where am I going in my life? Who are these people around me? All of these kinds of questions come up, and uh, they come up a lot of the times because we might be at a place where life is either not what we want it to be, or we're not sure of where we want it to go. And asking ourselves these questions, I feel like, are a good place to start because mm, getting those answers is probably going to, well, I'm not going to say probably because I am not you, but for me, when I started asking myself those questions, it made me sit and do a lot of reflecting, a lot of contemplation about where I was at the moment, what was I unhappy with, what was I okay with, did I really know who I was? And it started to like unpeel the onion. It started to make me break down my story that had already occurred, parts of it that I kind of pushed out of my mind, parts that were forgotten that needed to be remembered. And it made me more than anything question what the what question was huge. What am I doing with my life? And what do I see for my life going forward? And then I started to get little pieces of answers to the questions um, in a lot of different ways because I started becoming more conscious of not really having the answers. That's what was so eye opening in asking the questions, is that I really did not have clear answers, and some of the answers that I was able to answer, I wasn't happy with the answers. And then that made more questions because the answers that I wasn't happy with, I started looking at my life. Why aren't you happy with where you are? You see how more of the big W's are coming out as I talk? Why aren't you happy with life? What is it about it that you don't like? Who's around you that you need to look at to see if they still belong? Are they a good influence? Are they a bad influence? You know, all of these questions were really, 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 really uh, key in me starting on this journey of having more clarity about who Ta is and what does Ta want for herself and what is Ta capable of and how is Ta going to move forward and where do I see life being for me down the line. And I think that uh, starting that journey brought me to this podcast right now. And I was just talking to somebody that's been helping me to mentally tap into myself a little more because um, I am more of an intuitive feeling type of person, and sometimes my thoughts, my mind is not. I'm not gonna say that because I feel like I've progressed in that area, but the mental part of clarity had to meet up with my physical knowing because I could walk into a room and I could feel truth. I could feel a knowing. The mental part of taking that in and processing it is something I'm getting more comfortable with doing. And as I get to tell you more about who I am, where I come from, and my story more, you'll understand how those were separated for quite a bit of time of my life and how I've gotten here. But back to us as a whole, and what this podcast is going to be about, and how I want to. Um, this is a true love project for me, and um, why I wanted to start off by bringing up the big W's and talking about those first, because I feel like at some point in life we all get to this place where those W's start knocking a little harder than ever before because we all have a calling that we need to answer to. Some of us hear it and answer the call, some of us hear it and ignore it, but the call is always going to come back. It's going to come back. How aware we are of when the call comes and what we do with the call is something completely different, but the call always comes because we are all here to serve a purpose. We are all here to serve a purpose. It is not the same. And it doesn't mean that we're all here to do to be an artist, be a teacher, be a singer, be a writer. We're all different. We're all unique in our purpose, but we're all a part of one whole serving our individual purposes. And when we get to recognizing that call, being willing and surrender to the call and know that the answers and trust that the answers are going to come, the clarity of our individual purpose and the collective of the one of the all of us being all connected will become so much clearer. Life will be so much easier, and we'll be able to move about in a way that becomes so much more effortless, so much more fulfilling, so much more joy and love is going to be involved and dealt and felt every single day. M- More parts of each day will be experienced in that place, in that state of being of joy, of love, of bliss, of connectedness, of being a part of something greater than ourselves. All of that will become the experience that we have on an individual basis, being a part of this whole one. And so this podcast, I want to call it a special spot. And I call it a special spot because it's special to me. It's my special love project. And I want it to be special to everyone that clicks in. I want it to be a place where you get transparency, where you feel the love coming through the speakers, where you can get a deeper understanding of you yourself and me as a reflection of you, where you feel appreciated, where you feel seen, and that's a special thing. And so this is the spot that I want to have because I want this to be a place of community. And I feel like because this is a love project, from one reflection to another, love to me is so many things, but love, it heals and it transforms lives. It will heal and it will transform. I'm not going to say life, I'm going to say life because in every aspect of life, whether it's an animal, a human being, food, plants, water, anything you can think of that you can love on, if you nourish it with love, it will flourish and it will transform. It will become something so much more. And that's what I want to bring to our special spot. And that's why I call it our special spot because I want it to be a transformative place for everybody that clicks in. And just that in itself, if you trust that, something will come from this that will be a game changer for you, for life as you know it. I want to connect with you all, not just here, but also on other social media platforms that I have too. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Uh, who am I? Who is Ta? Well, my name is Talia, and I originate from New Jersey, USA. If anybody's listening outside of USA, I'm from the state of New Jersey. I was born in northern New Jersey, and I lived there for most of my life. And now I'm in the state of Georgia, also in the US. And I've been here for about 8 years. I have uh, professionally, I worked in customer service, in all types of customer service. I worked in fast food, I worked at clothing stores, I worked at pharmacy, and I worked on the phone for the most part doing customer service for all different types of companies. Um, and I became a small business owner, still working in the customer service field now. Um, so I've always been a person of service. I come from a huge family that the women of my family and the men too, I will say, have always been of service. We take pride in being a group of people that have always invited those in that are not blood related, but we loved on. So I've had that in me since I was young. I get joy from it. I do not have any type of psychological, clinical training. So I do not consider myself to be any type of mental health, spiritual health professional. I've just lived a very specific lifestyle to me, to who Ta is, and I've gained a lot of insight on different topics that I want to talk about with y'all. And another thing about me too, and just me telling y'all who I am, I'm a very transparent person. I am not a golden child. I do not consider myself to be special, meaning better than or less than anybody else. I'm just Talia. And I got the nickname Ta from my family. I've been called Ta. My name is Talia, but my family calls me Talia. And that gave me the nickname Ta. And I just resonate with that name. I love that nickname. And I want y'all to call me Ta too because I love y'all too. And anybody that knows me knows that I love everybody. But back to a little bit more of my background and what brought me here. I've learned and paid attention to human beings and their behaviors, whether it was people that I worked with, family, friends, lovers, children. I've always been a person that looks into the behavior of people, and I've always been a person that can feel people in a deep way. So it's given me this insight into understanding people in a way that when I speak to them, I can speak to something inside. And I've seen it help a lot of people. And it's helped me in my life to understand me. Being connected to people has helped me to understand Ta. And so my call, when I started to get the call that I mentioned earlier, the call was telling me that I needed to take this insight, this connection, the way that I'm able to feel, the way that I am able to love, and the way that I'm able to express, and the experiences that I've had, and bring it to a larger ear, a virtual ear. Let's say that, a virtual ear. So I'm here, and I want to play my part in being a better tomorrow, in healing, in nurturing. I want to play my part in doing that. And I think this part of me doing that is this podcast. Part of me doing that is this love project called the Talk Time with Ta. And that's how I got here today. And when I tell you, it took me a long time to get here. It took me a long time to get here. But I'm here, and I'm going to be as authentic as I possibly can. I wrote all of these notes. I'm going to tell y'all, I wrote all of these notes that I was going to stick to because I have a perfection issue that I'm trying to work through. But I wrote all of these notes, and I was like, I'm going to stick to my notes, and I'm going to be very strategic because I need them to get the points and understand. And I think I looked at my notes once since I started recording this episode because I want to be authentic, and I want you, and I think that just speaking from my heart will be felt much more than me sticking to a bunch of notes. Although I'm probably gonna cringe when I hit the stop button because I'm gonna look at my notes and realize I forgot something. But that's okay. That's fine. That is fine. I believe that I'm being led to do and say what needs to be said and done in every episode because that's where my intention comes from. That my fearless, courageous intention comes from being transparent, being authentic, and operating out of love. So whatever gets recorded per episode is exactly what's supposed to be. Because another thing that I've been made to accept and understand is that we should trust life, meaning that there's no need to fight up against what is. Be mindful, be present, be in the now so that you're aware of things as they unfold. But what has already happened, that's life. And we don't need to beat up ourselves about it. There's a reason for it always. And if we trust and have faith in that, then we'll get to being right where we are always. And I feel so much freedom in that and coming to that understanding. And I said a lot today. And so please continue to join me in this special spot, in our special spot, where we are all reflections of each other. As we move forward, I'm hoping to bring other reflections of us on to talk with us and see where this goes. This is episode 1. Who knows what episode 2 is going to be? And start to ask yourself, this is what I want to leave y'all with. Start to ask yourself the big W's. Start to ask yourself the big W's. And as you start to get those answers, make note of it. I don't know, write a journal, record it on your phone. But as you ask yourself the questions, see what those answers are. They're going to lead to more questions if you're being honest with yourself. Because the questions typically start happening. If you're at the place of, if your life is great, spectacular, fantastic, and you don't have any questions, hats off to you. But those of us that are in a place of wanting change, wanting just to reflect, or need to be more clear about where we're headed, whip out those big W's, pull them on out, start asking yourself the questions, and see what you come up with. Okay? And I am Talk Time with Ty everywhere. Well, not everywhere because I'm not subscribed to everywhere. I'm on Instagram. I'm on uh, YouTube, and that's it. Um, my email address is in the description of this podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, my email address is in my description box, and DM me on Instagram. I will respond. If you want to ask me anything, if you want to chat, I'll do my best to be available to that. But as the younger people say, which I love saying, life is always life. So I will try to do my best to be connected as much as I can. But I, again, beautiful reflections. I thank you so, so much for clicking into the first episode of A Talk Time with Ty. It has been my greatest pleasure to be here. One of my great pleasures to be here with you. And I thank you so much. And I am going to say every episode, I love you. Those that know me know that this is true. I love everyone. Those that I don't know and those that I do know, I love you. And I mean that. I love you. And love on yourselves as best as you can because no one is going to love you like you can. No one. I will talk to you next time. Peace.